Shalom, Boker Tov. Whew, okay. I was just kind of meditating and listening while I was waiting on my tea. And I just wanted to share some of my truths that I've experienced along this way. First of all, some of our strongest convictions, I've learned, are birthed out of either our deepest pain or our darkest secrets. The foundation that we stand on, even foundations that we stand on, and some of those foundations are being broken because of our truth that we are walking in now. But a lot of things that I've set strong boundaries on and I stand firm on are birthed out of experiences. And when I say experiences, I've had children young. I've only worked for myself. I've experienced excellent times where money was great. I've experienced leanness. I've experienced foreclosures. I've experienced buying a house again. I've experienced paying for kids to go through college and still take care of some of them that are grown. I've experienced a lot, and the boundaries and the strong convictions I have are birthed out of the experience. I've learned by regret, and with what I'm going through and my family's going through now, I have made strong statements of how I would never not be present when I had the power and the ability to be. So to participate, you have to be present. To be in a relationship, you have to be present. Relationships are relational. When I reflect, I can reflect on, and when I say reflect, on now the season that I'm walking in. I know now how it feels to be handicapped and still have all your functions. My right hand is gone. That's how I feel. Because I've expressed how I've worked with my child. I was her teacher, instructor. She was my muse sometimes. We gleaned from one another in the salon. So now I'm operating in a new season of life. And so reflecting, as I reflect this past week, I've had the experience of seeing that people are really ill-equipped with dealing with their, I don't know if you want to call it pain, because I say it's guilt. I'm sad beyond even words explaining, to the point sometimes I can't even cry about how sad I am. But I've had people in their selfishness tell me how hard it is for them to deal with what has happened to my child. I'm like, okay, interesting. Because I'm sad, but I had a relationship with my child. And I know that some of their sadness is because they had opportunities to have a relationship with that person. And when the opportunities presented themselves, they weren't present. And so now when they reflect, all they can reflect back on is their absence and where they could have been there. When I reflect, I have so many memories that I can reflect back on that cause tears and laughter. That now I know how the psalmist says, when sometimes you have to encourage yourself. So I'm encouraged with those things. But when I say that ministry is mandatory, it's not whether or not you feel like it. It's not whether or not it's the right time for it. Because when y'all put something in your heart and you go through things, it's not fair if you don't share. In sharing, I have also been comforted. Because in sharing, others share where they thought no one else was going through anything. So, I had a girlfriend ask me this morning, because a day before we buried my daughter, which is her niece, and I call my friends my sisters, because my friends have been around for 30 plus years. Her son, whom she's helped raise, was murdered, and she's asking me now how and why. And in my finite mind, I don't know why. But I have the experience of being raised in a home where we had a nuclear family, or my grandmother's sisters helped raise my mother, because when my grandmother was born, at 9 months old, she contracted polio, which left her partially handicapped, functional, highly functional, but in Oklahoma in the 50s when she had my mother, they sterilized her after that. So my mother was the baby girl's only child, and her 10 other siblings, 9 other sisters, because it was 10 girls and 2 boys, rallied around and helped raise their sister, and until raised their sister's daughter and their sister's daughter's granddaughter. So I was raised by women, elders, and so I have a greater understanding now for what they were talking about then, because I've watched them bury sisters, children, sons and daughters, and would marvel at how. And one time I asked, and I was told, just keep living. Well, here I am on this journey. And I've been able to minister to my sister friend that by and by we don't understand, but eventually in ministering and in walking, some of the dark days become clearer. What we go through isn't for us. It is really not about us. It's not about you. It's not about me. We have an inside joke with one of my other friends, and I would tell her, because she has the tendency sometimes to make everything about her. If her coffee spilled, why me? And so one day I remember telling her, rule number 1, it's not about you. Rule number 2, it's not about you. And rule number 3, again, it's not about you. This walk is not about you. It's not about me. When we entrust our eternal lives to the one who gave them to us, our lives are really not our own. And so I've had to tell her that I know the things I know. I know Yah's not cruel. I know He doesn't take anything without restoring something else. Nothing can compare to, anyone couldn't compare to my child, having my child back. But He left me something. I wasn't left without anything. Left with 3 beautiful grandchildren. My 9-year-old grandson, my 5-year-old granddaughter, she'll be 6 at the end of this month, and my 4-year-old strong lion little grandson. And so I have the strength to still minister as I've been called. Something else I've learned in this journey is people are attached to the physical. And things like this will shake your core and make you realize and look up, make you look up, make you realize that there is more than just what these physical eyes see. Turn down the world. Turn down the noise. It'll cause you to become quiet. And in your quiet time, you can hear. And one thing I heard, and I'll share with you, is while I was pleading and praying at my daughter's bedside, 3 consecutive times I heard this very clear, and it spoke through the loudness of my pain, was, "It is well with your soul." Each time I pleaded for, if I had years left on my life, take them and give it back to her. The answer I got is, "It is well with my soul. It will be well with your soul, what I am about to do." Second time, and it may sound cruel, but if you just take the baby and give me my baby back, she can have more children. And what I heard was, "What I'll do will be well with your soul." The third time, same response. And so after I got up, and the next day we got test results, and what I was dreading was told to me, I walked out and I walked into the room where my daughter was. And after a private moment with her, I walked out to go get on the elevator because I was leaving the hospital. And a statement that I've often stated, like I said, I've been through breakups, divorces, bad situations, bad relationships, and I've always said, ain't nothing but dying gonna kill me. Well, I guess I might want to be careful about what I say, because that has rang true as well. As I exited the hospital in the elevator, I stated that to myself as I took deep breaths. Nothing but dying will kill you. It might feel like you're gonna die, but if you lay down and open your eyes the next day and you see the light, you're still here. So, as I felt like my inheritance was being stripped from me, I was reminded, this is your ministry and your platform. You can walk off of it if you want to. I can use someone else. Because again, as I stated, I was sore. And I didn't pray for a day or two, because I felt like what I had been asking for was not answered. And then the morning of my daughter's service, after I got up and meditated, and my other daughter prayed and meditated, she came and she spoke something to me. She said, "Mommy, you got your prayer answered." Because my prayer was for my inheritance, earthly inheritance, to also meet me again in paradise. And I'm not going to disclose a whole lot of other things, not yet. But that's where they are. And so then I started to put on the mind of the psalmist David. Where my baby is gone, she can't return to me, but I will to her. But while I'm here, ministry is still mandatory. She left me 3 children. And I have to put all of the love that I have had and still do for her in those children. All of the correction, all of the directing, all of what Yah has entrusted me with. Because my question to him was also, who do you think I am that you would put such a grievous task on me? Who do you think I am? So I have yet to figure that out. I remember like a month ago though, in prayer, because I have embarked on another journey as well, and that one is implementing gardens in the community. And in the community that I'm implementing these gardens is the same community that I was born and raised in, my daughter was born and raised in. And in this particular community, according to health department and statewide statistics, there has been a grant awarded, and it is for this community, for transformative climate communities, and to bring food and plants and green trails and sustainable food and training to these communities that are considered impoverished or underprivileged. I call it economically a strategic economic trying to think of the word, I'll think of it later. But it's strategically done that these communities are this way, where there are plants in this community, we're processing plants, parks built on dumps, mom and pop shops but no sustainable food, markets and stores that get milk and food from animals and animals and produce that are sprayed with pesticides are brought into these communities. And in this community that my child and myself was born in and raised in, 20 years of your life expectancy is taken off when you're born in this community. And as I've reflected back, I'm looking at the prayer being answered. Boy, sometimes you gotta be careful what you ask for. But to make an impact and a change, and with this passion that has been put on my heart, I had to still experience what I'm going to talk to others about. My child suffered from asthma. She was raised in this community. I've only become very, very conscious about eating over the last 5 or 6 years, and very disciplined now about how and where I eat, and basically making my own food. And now I'm wanting to grow more of it. And I've raised them in that community. I raised them in a food desert, where sometimes before school I would take them to get donuts and chocolate milk, and because that was what was in the community on their way to school, on their way to daycare. And so my prayer was, as I'm implementing this garden, I was having a meeting, and I had a talk with Yah, and I was asking, I said, okay, I've planted seeds. I am being obedient as far as I believe, by following your law, statutes, commandments, listening to your word, studying your word, wanting to stay in right relationship with you. Can you take the limits off me? I feel like I'm limited still. I feel like the areas you've put in my heart for me to go into, I'm being limited. There's limits. Can you take the limits off me? Okay. He did. In the meeting I went to, I saw something happen, and where as a new nonprofit, you have to have 3 years of fiscal reporting or the capacity to complete what you are starting. I didn't have. Someone someone came in and took me under their wing. I also, as I moved forward, and I now have the experience of losing a child that was born in this community because of the environment and the components in that community. I don't know if Hulda stated it, but we'll be starting a asthma awareness for pregnant women, which will include very different branches of expertise, where we'll talk about diet and just different things, meditation, breathing, controlling your asthma, doing workshops. Again, I was a young mother. I was a teenage mother with both of my daughters. Had one, Hulda, when I was 15, and Alanique when I was 18. And so I knew nothing about asthma, nothing at all. And as it progressed, and as she got older, I knew how to control her asthma. And as she got older, I thought that she did too, as I had done as a mother, teaching her. But hey, pregnancy, gaining weight, fluids, this Central Valley that we live in, fires, mold, pollen, things in the air, we don't know. I don't know. So we will be educating on that. So the limits have been removed, and they have been taken off. And now my ministry and now my passion is that much more of a passion to me, because I'm affected by something that has affected me. And so now what I talk about, it won't be what I've just researched. It'll be what I have experienced. So again, when I say ministry is mandatory, it is mandatory. There's a such thing as a secret place. And in a secret place, there is protection. Yah hides and conceals us in a secret place when we are trying to, or when our enemy is trying to consume us. Secrets are bad. If I know something that will heal and help, then it is my duty, and the lot has fallen upon me to be the one to speak about it. So this is my lot. And whatever it may be at this point and from this point on, it is well with my soul. And ministry is mandatory. Pray for me as I walk on this untrekked road, and the road that some would love to not have to travel. And pray for me as I continue to minister to the daughters of Zion and to my community, because I do love our people, conscious or not. Love is mandatory as well. Shalom.